In the past, Chinese hackers dominated global hacking competitions, winning first place time and again. But after 2017, their presence suddenly vanished. At first, nobody could figure out why they had stopped competing. Then, in 2019, an incident took place that exposed China's secretive cyber clan. Welcome once again to Amir TV Videos. Viewers, back in March 2017, a team of hackers from China traveled to Vancouver, Canada. Their mission was to uncover hidden vulnerabilities inside the world's most popular software and devices. Their targets included Google's Chrome browser, Microsoft Windows, and Apple's iPhones. But these hackers weren't there for illegal activities. They had come to participate in a legal competition known as Pound to Own. This is one of the largest hacking contests in the world, where hackers attempt to break into company software to discover security flaws or loopholes. In exchange, they receive cash rewards ranging anywhere from $500,000 up to $1 million. The biggest prize is awarded for finding a zero-day vulnerability, a flaw that no one else has discovered before. Once found, the details are handed directly to companies like Google, Microsoft, or Apple, so that the loophole can be patched quickly with an update. The hacker, in turn, is paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. This makes the competition a form of ethical hacking. It causes no harm, but instead strengthens digital security. For many years, Chinese hackers remained at the top of these competitions. Whether it was Pound to Own or another event, they consistently led the field. But after 2017, everything shifted. The once dominant Chinese hackers suddenly disappeared from the international stage. Their absence was widely noticed, especially in the United States. Then, a message from one of China's major cybersecurity firms began to raise questions. Qihu 360 Q360, one of the country's leading firms, had its CEO, Zhou Hongyi, issue a sharp criticism of these hackers. He questioned, "Why are you showing off your skills abroad?" In an interview with China's Sina News, Zhou claimed that doing well in such contests was nothing but a fake victory, mere showmanship. He argued that the vulnerabilities being discovered weren't worth just a few $100,000, but billions. Not long after his statement, Chinese hackers withdrew from international contests. It quickly became clear that this wasn't their choice. The Chinese government had ordered them to stop. Taking Zhou's stance seriously, the government imposed an official ban, preventing Chinese cybersecurity researchers and hackers from competing overseas. Soon afterward, China introduced its own domestic competition, the Tianfu Cup. This became the alternative to international contests, offering prize money that exceeded $1 million. The creation of the Tianfu Cup alarmed many nations, as it signaled China's preparation for cyber warfare. In November 2018, the very first Tianfu Cup took place in Chengdu, China. The top prize of $200,000 went to a Qihu 360 researcher named Qi Jian, who discovered a highly powerful and dangerous exploit in Apple's iPhone. His attack began through the Safari browser, exploiting a vulnerability deep inside the iPhone's core system. Using this flaw, he could remotely take control of any iPhone simply by having the victim open a particular web page. This meant that if someone opened that page, their iPhone would quietly fall into the hacker's control. Qi named the exploit Chaos, an appropriate title because in the months to follow, it would cause worldwide trouble. The difference between Pound to Own and the Tianfu Cup was critical. At Pound to Own, vulnerabilities were handed straight to the companies. At Tianfu Cup, the vulnerabilities first went to the Chinese government, which decided if or when they would be passed on. This opened the door for disaster. A vulnerability like Chaos could be sold for millions on the black market and used by criminals or states for mass surveillance. 2 months later, in January 2019, Apple silently patched the flaw Qi Jian had uncovered. But the real shock came in August 2019, 7 months later, when Google released a research paper revealing that a massive iPhone hacking campaign had been running. Large numbers of iPhones were being hacked on a global scale. Google identified 5 separate exploit chains. One of them was the very same chaos exploit demonstrated by Qi Jian at the Tianfu Cup. The exploit that had won him the prize was now being used for mass surveillance of iPhone users. Google did not reveal who the attackers or victims were, but it later emerged that the victims were Uyghur Muslims, and the attacker was none other than the Chinese government. Since 2014, China has committed serious human rights abuses against Uyghur Muslims and other minorities in Xinjiang. Hundreds of thousands were detained in camps without trial. Women were forcibly sterilized. Torture and sexual abuse were widespread. Every phone was monitored for religious content, and those caught faced harsh punishment. Chinese authorities justified it as preventing extremism, but the US and several other countries labeled it genocide. China's hacking campaign wasn't limited to Uyghurs. Journalists, activists, and government critics were also targeted. After Google's report, the media quickly connected the dots. Apple later confirmed that the exploit had indeed been active for about 2 months, the same period when Kajan had won the Tianfu Cup. American experts concluded that China had followed Zhou Hongyi's proposed strategy: keep hackers at home, use their skills internally, and weaponize vulnerabilities for surveillance. U.S. intelligence agencies performed a full technical breakdown of chaos, confirming it matched the Tianfu Cup exploit exactly. Google's deeper analysis also showed chaos and the real-world attack were structurally identical. But things didn't end there. In February 2024, a major data leak surfaced on GitHub. It exposed internal files from iSoon, a Chinese IT security company. Among the leaks were company emails, chat logs, and details of spyware development. It was revealed that iSoon develops cyber espionage tools that are later supplied to the Chinese government and the People as Liberation Army. Leaked chats showed contracts between iSoon and the Ministry of Public Security. It also came to light that iSoon charged between $7,000 and $75,000 for each hacked email inbox provided to the government. Today, the Tianfu Cup has entered its 8th year. Sponsored by China's largest tech corporations, such as TopSec, Alibaba, and Qihu 360. But U.S. officials are now extremely concerned. They argue that the competition is being used to recruit nationalist hackers into the Chinese military. TopSec, a Beijing-based firm organizing the Tianfu Cup, is reportedly connected directly to China's armed forces. This makes it clear that, behind the Tianfu Cup, China is building a hidden stockpile of cyber weapons. And when nation-states support hackers, the goal is no longer prize money. It is something far more dangerous. In 2024, Chinese state-sponsored hackers were accused of breaching the U.S. Treasury Department and stealing sensitive documents. That same year, they infiltrated at least 9 American telecom companies, including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. In 2022, the Chinese hacking group Volt Typhoon targeted U.S. energy and water systems. In 2023, malware attacks struck U.S. military bases in Guam. Experts warn that Chinese hackers don't just infiltrate systems briefly. They maintain silent access for years, waiting for the right moment to strike. All of this makes it clear. China is raising an army of hackers for cyber warfare. A war where missiles aren't necessary because a few lines of code can bring a nation down. Where instead of airstrikes, network blackouts sow chaos. Where spyware hidden in phones is more dangerous than secret agents. Where just one click could crash stock markets and spread mass fear. We hope you enjoyed this video from Amir TV. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you so much for your kind comments. See you in the next great video.